Hey everybody! So I thought that this would be a fun thing to do. I've never done one of these unboxing videos, and I figured today would be a great chance to do it, because as you can tell, I'm really into the Final Fantasy thing right now. So, I recently got my Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward Collector's Edition in. As you can see, the plastic wrap is already off. Now, the big reason for this is actually due to the fact that early access started on the 19th. I received this on the 18th. I didn't open it. I was going to wait to open the entire thing until, I had a camera in front of me. However, early access ended on the 27th. So despite the fact that I had the box, I was a part of early access, and by that point I had already gotten very close to 60. I actually couldn't play unless I took the game out of the box and put the code in. It was actually kind of weird the way they did the system. So the way it worked for me is I bought the game on Square Enix official store, and I got an activation code. The activation code actually went into a Square Enix specific website, and then about a week beforehand I got the code to download Heavensward for the early access. But I could not play after that despite getting the early access code unless I had the game. I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to, keep everything free and awesome for everybody and make sure that people aren't, stealing, but at the same time, I still found it to be a little bit odd. So, either way, we're going to scoot one of these over, and we're going to put this as the focus. So, the really cool thing about the Heavensward box for you collectors out there is the size. And the way that you can display it in different ways. Obviously mine is a PS4 copy, so you can display it via the side. You can actually display it on its side like this, if you want to do that, or you can display it like this. Most collectors aren't going to throw away this cardboard part here, but at the same time, it's not going to fit in your shelf like other games. There are a few really good examples for that. So, now doing a little size comparison for funsies is it's not going to fit in your shelf, much like the Hakuroki Collector's Edition is not going to fit on your shelf. It is also not going to fit on your shelf like this massive Tales of Symphonia Chronicles, which has both the games in it. These suck as a collector. You have no place to really put them. Yeah, they look nice, but once you get too many of them, it becomes an issue. So a good example to contrast this actually is the Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix. It still works in the size, it'll still fit in your shelf. It's still a little bit taller than an average video game, but still you can actually fit it in the shelf. So putting these aside for a second, let's actually start opening this up. Now, once again, I just took the game out, and it's the only thing I've looked at. I haven't looked at anything else in the box. So this is a surprise to me, and it's probably not a surprise to you because Yoshida already did the unboxing. So the one thing that I found that was really hard to do was actually get this thing off. But with a little shimmy shake, it comes right off, and you're all set. Now, as you can see, you have this really nice silver Heavensward thing here. And on both sides, you actually have the logo and Heavensward as well. So I really like that. You could use it as a mini stool, which is actually kind of nice. So taking it off the top, very small, very compact, compact is a relative term, but it's very easy how that works. And as you can see, just based from the top, I believe that this is the soundtrack, you've got the game, and I believe that this is the art book right on the top, and it's not going to fall out, which is fantastic. So, let's put this aside as well. Let's get this, can we get the art book out? Or is that not the art book? Oh, maybe it does not want to come out. Now, the issue I had with, despite the way this box is packed, I can never get anything out of it. The game was a pain in the butt to get something out of it, so let's see here. It also doesn't help that I have these. They make a cool sound, but they don't actually help get anything out of anything. So, alright. I'm half tempted to flip the entire thing over. But for a second, let's just go over the game. So the game is standard. You can actually just put this on your shelf and put this away in storage somewhere. You know, it has this really cool art that I'm really fond of. It does say it requires Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn to play. I've already took the wrapping off to get to my code. Inside, it's very typical. I'm going to cover up my promotional code. Or I could just take it out so you can't see it. Not that it matters, it's redeemed. But it comes with the game inside. Game has the dragon mount that you get at level 59, spoilers, and it has a machinist on it, and I believe a Dark Knight. We've kind of seen this artwork floating around during the live letters. On the back, you have Rise Up Heroes, cast off the shadows that darken the realm. You have the 3 new jobs and the mount that I was describing. This time, a Dragoon is riding the mount. So, Astrologian, Dark Knight, and Machinist. That's what you have here. So, very simple. I don't think it says anything. It says it requires online play. Okay. This product requires a persistent internet connection, a monthly subscription fee, and an agreement to certain licenses and usage. So that warning is on there as well. So in case you buy the game thinking you can play it, So put that under here for a second, and let's see if we can get this art book out. I'm actually really curious about this. So the art book itself is really, this is the back of the art book, just FYI. Or maybe it's the front. It looks like the back. Maybe, I think this is the front. The Art of Eorzea, Heavensward, and once again we're following the design with this silver kind of shimmy shine sort of thing here. So it's nowhere near as big as the art book that was offered both on the online store and at the FanFest. It shows a bunch of the new monsters and gear and things like that, so not as expansive, I think, as I personally would have liked. But yeah, it has some of the Dark Knight stuff, has some of the monsters and mounts, and some of the gear. I actually haven't seen this mount in the game. Has anybody seen this mount? I've yet to see this mount in the game. This like worm thing. I have not seen this one yet. Alright, so I'll get close at the back so you guys can see it. It has some environments, some really pretty stuff. Definitely really nice looking. I'm actually going to keep this up here for comparison's sake. It does have a few little scuffs, a few little white marks. Mostly you can fix it with a wipe down, probably from just being made in the factory. Now for some comparison's sake, this is the art book that was sold at Final Fantasy FanFest and online, where you get the Sid minion if you do purchase this. Obviously it's quite a bit bigger than that book, which is understandable. Yes, I know I have scratches on the front, thank my cat for that. But if you're going to get an art book, I definitely think this one is worth it in comparison to this one, because the collector's edition was about 130 bucks, and for my Canadian friends, I believe with shipping, you guys were paying close to $220 to $250, which is insane. Also in comparison, because I have this book as well, I would also like to compare the Eorzea collection, which has all the glamours up until 2014, and it has a bunch of the housing stuff. This is about as big, if not a little bit bigger than the Art of Eorzea one. And this one is fantastic in case you want to look for glamours. It's so nice, I like it, and that feels good, that fan on me. So yes, I would say instead, I think getting, if you were just wanted the art book, getting the Eorzea, the Art of Eorzea one would be much better than the Heavensward one. But that's just due to volume and content. So this thing right here, I'm assuming actually is the figure, and the soundtrack also came out. I think that's the soundtrack. This is the figure everybody's been talking about. I am an avid figure collector. I was not very impressed with the figure the second time we saw it. We initially saw pictures, I believe, at the Tokyo Fan Fest, and it looked very vibrant. And after we kept seeing it, it seemed smaller and a little bit more janky. Janky is the word I'm going to use. I have over about 300 figures or so and collecting. So for me personally, I am a little bit curious to see how this one stands up. Now, I'm going to believe this is the soundtrack, and if so, there's nothing else in the box, and I'm going to show you guys the box, the empty box, so you can see, you know, there's nothing else in here. So this actually really surprises me that this is, if this is indeed the soundtrack. Additional content disc. Oh yes, okay, this is the DVD, that's correct. I don't know why I kept thinking it was the soundtrack. Yeah, the DVD, I actually don't know what's on it. I remember them talking about it during a live letter. I haven't seen it. I do wish it was packaged in something a little bit better. I did used to get like Pokemon play a card game kind of things from Burger King when I was a kid, and like little things like this. So a little bit disappointed in that, which is a shame because I love this. I love the way everything was packaged together, but this seems like it was kind of haphazardly thrown in there. So, I don't have keys or anything to open this, but I do have nails. The nails that will pierce the heavens. There we go. Hey, that worked. You can tell I don't often wear nails to actually do things. There we go. Note for next unboxing video, bring a knife or scissors and a trash can. Alright, so I just want to actually see, I guess, the Blu-ray disc. Once again, not a lot of, design really for this specifically. This does seem the most lackluster thing that I've pulled out of the box thus far. So I'm actually just going to leave that right there, and hopefully it doesn't fall. And now that I've said that, it's going to fall. Let's see if I can pull the same nail trick that I just pulled, and the answer is no. And I'm back with scissors. They were not under this, in case you were wondering. So, being extremely careful. Once again, I don't want to cut the box. I am definitely one of those people that likes to keep everything intact as best as possible. Now, this is going to be the tricky one, huh? You're the tricky one. There we go. Okay, and no cutting of the box. Fantastic. You already saw the front of the figure. I did not. Let's see. Lots of safety warnings. Don't give to the youngins. I don't know why you would. This figure costs like 130 bucks. Most of the caution stuff in the back is Japanese instructions, but they do have a small little teeny picture on how to get it onto the stand. So let's get this open. And now I actually had people in my static, or in my FC, ask me if I could actually get the dragon, and that's worrying. I had people ask if I could actually get the dragon onto the stand, and I was like, if you can't get your dragon onto the stand, you might want to take it back. I believe in you, Nails. I believe in you so much. This is like a YouTube challenge. Try an unboxing video with absurdly long nails. I'd love to see all the guys on YouTube begin to do it. I mean, everything is a challenge nowadays, isn't it? So, when you're going to open it, this is very standard for a figure. It has the backdrop, in case you want to use this for photos or whatnot, and then it has the two plastic bits that you're going to pull apart when you take it out. So, the best way that I'm going to do to deal with this is shape it. And now we have a dragon. It's just an upside down dragon. Alright, so turning you right side up. Alright, interesting. It definitely has more colorization than I would have guessed. That was one of the big things I was essentially worried about, is the colorization on the dragon. I wanted it to be vibrant, and I wanted the paint job to be interesting, to say the least. So we're going to pull these apart carefully. Alright, so it did come with plastic inserts. The plastic is just to make sure that it, doesn't get damaged. I can actually tell, and I'm going to bring this closer to the camera, mine did get damaged. One of the fears that I had is I live in the desert, and in the desert, things get hot. So, as you can see here, where are you at? As you can see, one of his horns is twisted inward, and it should most likely be out like this. Hopefully you can see that. So that's an easy fix though. These are really flexible parts. These are very similar to the Play Arts style that Square Enix has with a lot of their figures. It's not my favorite, but some people like it a little bit better. Just kind of analyzing to see which parts are squishy and which could potentially be damaged. I love the upper side of the wings being so different from the underside of the wings. One of my favorite features of the figure thus far. But he is fairly small. This is an extremely small figure in my eyes. It's not an android, but it is still a fairly small figure. The stand is kind of nice. You have a little Heavensward Final Fantasy XIV plaque in the middle right there. But it is just plastic. Now, the real test. I didn't expect it to be glass, by the way. Real test is seeing if I can fit this in there. So I'm assuming I have no idea how in the word you're supposed to do this. Oh, okay, the tail. Oh, okay. So you're going to, this is a very interesting design. The concept here is you're going to fit it in with the toes. This is really curious, specifically because the toes are kind of one of the weakest and thinnest points of the figure. So you're going to have actually a lot of issues trying to get this shoved into place. I believe in you, Midgar Somer. I believe in you. You obviously don't believe in me, however. Why don't you believe in me? So, yeah, this is, will you stand on the thing? If I put you on here, are you going to stay? You will, but that's not how you're supposed to be on there. I put you how you're supposed to be on there. And then shove you. You gotta shove your tail back, bro. Oh boy. I mean, he'll stay, but it doesn't necessarily feel accurate. So, interestingly enough, you can still display it, even if it does not go into said grove. But yeah, there were other ways to design this one, guys. So he will technically still fit, and he'll look menacingly in his pose. Now I will give some props to them in concerns of the pose. First off, there's a big base, so he's very unlikely to lean over. And the only thing you have to worry about are the wings, but they're incredibly light. Most likely they're not going to collapse on themselves. Obviously you have these little antenna pieces right here that are going to, if they got squished like mine, they're going to need to be fixed, to say the least. But his body itself is very solid. His neck isn't going to droop. It's far too solid, despite the pose. So, all in all, I'm fairly okay with it. The stand has some problems. The coloring's nice. The detail is nice. It's going to last a fairly long time, which is always nice. The only issue that really I have is that it is fairly small. It is made out of the play arts sort of style, so it is kind of squishy. It's not a PVC like you're used to in standard figures, and those are my favorite. It's very reminiscent of the infamous 2 limited edition figure, except that's a little bit bigger and it's a little tougher too. So yeah, it's an okay figure. So for everything, you got the DVD that's on the floor, the art book, you got the dragon figure, you get the really cool box, and you also got the game. So do you think it's worth, you know, as much as it is for the limited edition? I think it's an interesting piece. Obviously, if you play Final Fantasy XIV a lot, you're going to appreciate it. As someone who plays Final Fantasy XIV way too much, I appreciate it as well. I'm going to enjoy looking through the art book, but I do have my disappointments. In addition, though, with the collector's edition, you do get some digital items and a pre-order bonus depending on when you got the limited edition. The limited edition is still available in the Square Enix store in case you want to grab one for yourself. So, to compare or go over everything one more time, you got plenty of boxes. Here's some boxes, and that'll be fine. And you got the DVD that we cared so much about. I actually really do want to watch this and see exactly what it is, because if it's more information about the process or how everything works, if it's just cutscenes, I can get those in game. And then you also have the game itself. Now I also want to make a small reminder here, if you don't want to display the figure like this, you can easily put it back in the box. There's nothing stopping you, and you can display it in the box. That's most likely what I'm going to do myself. And then you also have the decorative box as well. So this is the Nestle, the full collector's edition. Once again, I'm just going to figure out how to display this big box. But thank you for joining me for my first unboxing video. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and hopefully you guys might join me on Siren. My name is Kanashimi Tenchi, so I hope to see you there. Thanks very much, and see you guys later. Bye-bye!